Digital Board Gamer here. Time for our weekly review for April 21st through the 24th. We had 2 full releases this week and 4 beta games to look at. The goal in the week of review is to give you about a minute overview of each game, what it kind of looks like, how it kind of plays. That way you can decide if it's worth your time to learn how to play that game. First up on Monday, we had Garden Rush. Garden Rush was released last Friday, so it's a new game. Came out almost the same exact day on BGA as it did in print. So this is kind of a preview. Check it out, and then if you like the game, then go buy a copy. It's a 2-player only game. BGA says it takes about 27 minutes. It is a premium game on BGA, and it plays well in both turn-based and in real time. This is a tile placement game where you're trying to rush to 40 points. This game does have the more advanced mode, these extra tools. First couple games you probably want to play with just the basic 4 tools on the board. But the idea is you're going to be taking veggies, and if you take a veggie and move it down in its same column, it stays on the 2 side. If you move it over, it'll go to the 1 side. And then what you're trying to do is form these little patterns here on your board, and they're Tetris style, so you can move them around. But, I could do 2 carrots this way. And you're just trying to create these patterns. And then when you harvest, if you had 4 eggplant in this pattern here, you would harvest the 4 eggplants, you would move 4 points on the score, and then if they're all on the 2 side, they'd all flip over the single side, and then you could harvest them again. I like it. The more I've played it, I've kind of learned. Once you get close to around here on the scoreboard, 28, 27, 26, I'm really planning out my turns. I'm like, if I score 4, then 5, then 2, I can make it to the end, and you have to watch, see what your opponent can do. So it's quite a bit of fun. It's simple tile placement and then scoring. So that one's there. So if you like tile placement, check that one out. Our other release on Wednesday was Rats of Wistar, a much heavier game. It's 2 to 4 players. Does play about 84 minutes real time. You can see here it's rated pretty well and a lot heavier than our last game. All right, so this is a worker placement game. You'll see here, these are your simple places you can place here. The thing that kind of sets this one apart is you're actually going to be placing these little these little explorer tokens in each of the areas. So you start with 2 here, and then you can build more beds in these little holes here to add more. But if I have like 2 of them here in the woods, then both of these actions are 2 power. If I move them underground, then these 2 actions have 2 power, and so on. This little board does rotate around, and it's different every game where each piece is, so it does change up quite a bit. You have some goals here to help you get started in the right direction, but then you kind of have to decide the best path to victory. There's a lot of exploring here in the house. These big guys flip over here, they're missions, and then you can do certain things to score points. In this, there's lots of card play in here to score combos, make combos, etc. You can power up your actions and so on. Overall, I like this one. It is a lot harder to learn, but I think I have it down now, and I do really enjoy it. So if you like a heavier Euro-style game, worker placement, check this one out. Now on for our beta games. Next up, we have Verdant, a card placement game where you're going to be building a certain pattern of plants and then color cards next to each other to try to fully grow each plant to score points. This one came out a few years ago, pretty well rated, 749 ranked, pretty easy to learn, and you see 1 to 5 players. Our BGA says about 18 minutes. So during a turn, you're going to be taking either the plant on top and this color little icon, or the card down below with the same icon. And then you're going to be adding them to your board. Then certain plants, like this one, likes full sun. So by placing it here, it gets a green leaf, and this one has the east sun, so it gets another leaf. And once you get to 5 leaves, then you add a pot, and you score points that way. So you keep building. I think it's a 4x3 grid you're going to be building out. And you keep going until you have that complete. Then you score points based on your plants and goals and whatnot. So if you like planning out, laying down cards, check out that one in beta. Then we had Pico, a abstract strategy game kind of complicated abstract strategy game where you're going to be fighting for control of your area or trying to remove so many opponent's pieces. It came out in 2012. Not a whole lot of games played on BGA so far. I believe Tom Vassell said this was a print and play game, and then it finally got published. So I don't know when it was published, but I know it was print and play back in 2012. So when you start the game, you're going to start by selecting so many troops. You can see each troop does something slightly different. So you want to try to score 10 points by taking control of your opponent's pieces. But you can see like here, you're going to threaten pieces. And basically if a piece gets threatened by two different pieces, it goes away. But there are pieces that kind of help you. Like this one here helps cover to its right and up and down. So then your opponent needs 3 threat to remove it. You have to play these pieces, move them around, and try to threaten pieces. And then if you can get the threat, you can take them off and score points that way. I think digitally helps a lot because you can put your mouse over the piece. This game's a little bit harder to pick up because all the pieces you have to be constantly hovering over and see what they do. So it takes a little bit of time to kind of figure out, okay, this one does this one does this. But once you get it figured out, you can pick it up. So if you like that abstract strategy, it reminded me a little bit of Hive in a way. Just every piece is slightly different, and then attacking and then defending. Then we have Rumble Nation, a game from Japan that a lot of people are talking about importing, and I think I read that it's just coming out to the US now. So this is a little look at it, and this is the version actually coming out and the artwork coming to the US. So if you're interested in this, the version for the US is coming out very shortly, or maybe it was just released. It's a dice placement game where you're going to try taking over areas. Did come out in 2017. Pretty well rated so far. 2 to 4 players. Rated best with 4. Takes about 14 minutes real time, and I thought this one played fine turn-based. So during your turn, you can play these tactic cards or roll the dice. Majority of your game will just be rolling the dice. So when you roll the dice, you're going to be looking here, and then you can kind of see this graphic here. Depending on what number dice you keep is how many of the troops you're going to place, and then the other dice is where it's going to go. So for example, I rolled a 3, 1, and a 6. You can see I can do a 7 right here, and then I have a 3 left over, so I place 2 guys. I can do a 9 with the 6 and the 3, but I only have a 1 left over, so I can only place 1 guy. So it's a little bit of dice placement that way. You do get 1 reroll, but you have to reroll all of them. So you can see there I kept the 6, so I could put 3 troops down, and then it was a 3 and a 1, so the 4 go here. And then that's really it. You're just going to keep rolling, adding more and more troops. You both start with 18 troops, and once all the troops are on the board, then you do like a count, and the game automatically scores all of your pieces, and then you see who won. And you score points basically on these castles here. I only played 2-player. I know the 3 and 4-player, there's another token on the board with it. So if you're interested in learning this one a little bit more, it is funny playing turn-based. We keep playing, and then all of a sudden I just win, and then I have to go back and watch my last turn. And it kind of shows you kind of resolve lower to higher. And then if you win, the game automatically then will send troops to connecting provinces. So there's a little bit of strategy with winning the low numbers, because then you send over troops to the higher number and so on. So if you like that simple dice rolling with a little bit of like area control, check that one out. The next up we have Orapa Mine, a abstract, they call it an abstract game, but it's more of a deduction game is really what you're trying to do. I played the 2-player version. It does play more than that. You know, it plays up to 5, but I played the 2-player version, so that's what I'm familiar with, and I'll kind of walk you through. They say it takes 15 minutes real time, but that's gonna vary big time depending on your skill level. This game came out last year. Like I said, 2 to 5 players. It's actually voted best with 2 so far. And like I said, I think it's more of a puzzle deduction game than BGA puts it as an abstract game. I think that's wrong. It's deduction 100%. All right, so in this game, you're trying to figure out the solution. The solution has all these pieces here that go on the board in a certain way. And what you're doing is you're basically firing off a laser that's going to bounce off of these pieces and then show a certain color on your board. So here, they fire off the 2, and it hits a white piece. And then it comes back to the 2 there. And you could slowly start adding these pieces on the board. Probably the only way for the white to bounce back the way it did is if it hits a flat edge of something like this. So it hits here and backs at a white. And blue bounced off. So you can see you're slowly just firing laser, trying to figure out where the pieces will go. Skip forward some so you can see what this looks like. During your turn, you can either fire a laser, or you can pick a certain place and see what color is there. Because if a laser bounces off 2 things, it'll actually change the color. Here you'll see in 17 we have a light blue, so that hit a blue and then a white. And then I believe if it hits 3 things, it'll still only affect what's been hit the first 2 times. So it becomes a little confusing, a little bit of deduction having to move things around. But there you can see you can see the white. If you guess like the F, it would hit here and then show you that it comes out the I and so on. It's a lot of deduction trying to figure out. I like the idea and concept. I just hate the execution on BGA. Having to fiddle with these pieces and move them around, and if you rotate it, it's a pain in the butt. If you try to rotate on the top, it's a pain in the butt. So I don't know. I'm going to try to give it a little bit more time, but I'm not a huge fan of the execution so far on it. And that's all the new games for this week. For my pick of the week, I wasn't a fan of really any of the beta games. I feel like they're all pretty forgetful. And I think for the 2 full releases, it comes down to what kind of gamer you are. If you like more in-depth Euro games, this is my pick of the week. If you like light tile placement games, this is my pick of the week. So, there you go. As always, I've been the Digital Board Gamer. Good luck and have fun.